Alright everyone, we're back in the truck this week, and we're going to be doing a viewer request video that someone asked me about the parking brake cable system on these trucks, and I don't know a lot about them. I've never messed with one. So this is a viewer request video, and it's also my 100th video for my YouTube channel, so there's a little bit of a bonus there. So the first cable you start with is up here under the dash. Obviously it goes to the pedal, and as you can see, there's a little nub piece on top of the cable that has to go through that hole. So in order to get the cable system to loosen up, if you're replacing all your cables, you push the pedal down, and you see it moved. It pulls it up. So when you push it down, it pulls the cable all the way through. Take a pair of vice grips and clamp it on here, right by the holder that keeps it into the bracket, and then release the pedal, and the metal piece will come down, and you should be able to just loop it right out and then release the vice grips. And then obviously the cable goes through the body here, through the grommet here, and then we move under the truck. So once you get that connection out, the whole cable system should loosen up, and we're going to crawl under the truck. So we start here. As you can see, there's the cable. Comes through the floor, and then it goes right through the frame and all these loopy things, and then you get to your first connection here, and once this is loose, you should be able to take some pliers, and you got the same thick cylinder things on either side of this cable. So whichever cable you broke on you that you're having to replace, you just loosen this up, because they're going to be rusted, because you can see mine are kind of rusted to it. So you take a couple of pairs of pliers and work at it, and you should be able to slide one end or both ends loose out of this bracket, the connection bracket here. So we got the second cable, and then it goes through this body loop here, and you can see here it's a whole different kind of connection, and this cable goes through, get on this side of my step bar bracket. So this cable here is the left parking brake cable. It comes out over top of the spring and just goes down by the spring and into the drum. But it has this bracket. It's like that little connection is just bigger, and the other cable is the passenger side cable, which is adjustable, and that's where you get some of your tension for the passenger side. So I'm assuming that once you loosen this adjustment nut up, that it's just a bigger metal clip that can slide out and slide that way and disconnect from the left parking brake cable for replacement, and that comes out of the same hole. It just goes up and over and bolts to the main axle, the differential right there, and then runs over into the drum on the passenger side. So each cable, there's 3 cables in this system, And as long as you can get them to separate, which I'm not sure how to do this one. It doesn't look like it's hard to replace them. And if you're gonna do one and your truck is old, obviously they're old, you know, most of them are at least 23, 24 years old. So if it's all original or it's been on there for a while and it looks like it, it's best just to do all your cables. Now my truck being an automatic, I don't even use it, but it's still quite taut even though I don't use it. But if I were to try it, I would definitely get all 3 cables and just start at the front and work my way back here to the rear end where you can go into each drum. And then you got to take your drums off. Now we'll go back under the dash because it's a similar connection. Now there's a similar connection to this on the brake shoe bar that you have to disconnect. The only difference is there's a coily spring on it instead of just this open cable, and the coily spring keeps the tension on the nub piece and keeps it into the bracket. So the way to deal with that is the same way. You don't have to pull it tight, but you got to take that spring and use pliers and pull the spring down and clamp it, and then as long as everything is loose, it'll slide right out of that connection bracket like this in the drum, and you can easily put it back together. And then with the new cable, you'll have to compress that spring again and re-loop it into the hook, and then just release the spring and it'll hold itself tight in the drum. And the same thing up here. Best way to do it is to push the parking pedal down again, and as long as everything is still a little loose, just take the pliers, pull up and link it in, and then release the parking brake lever. Actually, no, that's backwards, because it pulls up. So you leave it down and just pull the cable, vice grip it and pull the cable up and in, and then you go underneath and tighten everything down. So it's best to start up front and work your way to the back of the vehicle, because that way you can get your new cable in here while everything is loose, and then just hook it up in the center connection and just go down the line and hook it up. And that should take care of the parking brake issue if you have a broken cable, because these clips, you just push these tabs in and they go through the holes and then the grommet for the body. So hopefully that's enlightening to somebody about the parking brake cables. I'm not going to mess with mine because I don't use them. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Have fun.